Hey Star Trek fans, Dan Gunther here. Welcome to another episode of the Star Trek News Desk, where I bring you all the news from the past few weeks in Star Trek. To start off with, we have some news from Nicholas Meyer, who recently had an exclusive interview with TrekMovie.com. In the interview, he talks a bit about Discovery, specifically where in the Star Trek timeline it takes place and why they chose that, as well as dropping some fairly intriguing hints as to another Star Trek project that he's possibly working on. In the interview, Meyer states, "One thing that has nothing to do with Discovery is that I am working on another Star Trek project, but I can't discuss that either." TrekMovie.com did press him a little bit on the issue, but he was cagey, not revealing anything more. Stay tuned, as hopefully we learn a little bit more about this project in the days and weeks to come. Alex Kurtzman, while promoting his new film The Mummy, spoke with Collider a little bit about Star Trek Discovery. He drops a few hints about the show, including talking about Bryan Fuller's departure, as well as dropping some hints that there may be some big-name cameos in Discovery's future. I'll have a link to both of those interviews in the description below. Both of them can be found at trekmovie.com. Moving on from these stories, we have some news in the world of Star Trek gaming. First off, a news story that I'm really excited about, but my wallet may not be. Modiphius Entertainment is working on a Star Trek tabletop RPG called Star Trek Adventures. Now, I'm not someone who's ever really been into Dungeons & Dragons or any other RPGs like that, but this might be just the one to get me into that world. The game is set to be released in August, and pre-orders have just recently been opened on their website. I'll have a link to that in the description below. They're offering a number of items to go along with this game, including the core rule book, a number of miniatures featuring the original series crew, the Next Generation crew, and adversaries such as Klingons and Romulans. 3 sets of dice based on Command, Operations, and Science's uniform colors, token sets, deck tiles, and a pretty nifty Game Master screen. Now, if you want to get most of these items all at once, they are offering a limited edition collector's set presented in this stunningly gorgeous Borg cube set. I have to tell you, I'm really tempted to get this one myself. It looks really excellent. The price is very steep, but it does come with everything that you would get, that you could get otherwise, with the exception of the deck tiles, as well as some exclusives like this 32mm scale miniature of Lore, with a promise of more exclusive villains to be added for every 500 cubes that they sell. Once again, look in the description below for links to check those out and pre-order them from Modiphius. In other Star Trek game news, Star Trek Bridge Crew has finally been released. From game developer Ubisoft, Star Trek Bridge Crew puts you in command of the Federation's starship. It is a completely 3D virtual reality environment. Platforms include Oculus Rift, PlayStation VR, and HTC Vive. The main part of the game features the USS Aegis from the Kelvin timeline. However, there is also a mode in which you can play the original Enterprise's bridge from Star Trek the original series. I'll have a link in the description below to Ubisoft's website, and you can check out the game for yourself. For those of you who like your Star Trek adventures based in actual reality as opposed to virtual reality, you may want to check out Movie Park Germany, where Operation Enterprise recently opened. It is a 40-meter elevation roller coaster that is one of a kind in Europe. During the course of the ride, you can also see a holodeck, 2 transporter rooms, and a replica of the bridge of the USS Enterprise NCC 1701D. Much like the Star Trek experience of Las Vegas some time ago, the ride features a storyline that attendees will find themselves immersed in. This experience, however, culminates in a thrilling roller coaster ride, and as much as I love Star Trek, this might actually be one attraction that I might have to skip. I'm not the biggest fan of roller coasters, unfortunately. But I don't know, just like tabletop RPGs, this might just be the one to make me change my mind. And in Star Trek collectible news, a couple of exclusive items have been announced for the San Diego Comic-Con this year. First off, coming from Biff Bang Pow, is this cute little Star Trek The Next Generation Enterprise bobblehead. I suppose you would actually call it a bobble ship, however. It can be pre-ordered from Entertainment Earth. I'll have a link to that in the description below, or you can visit booth 2343 at the San Diego Comic-Con. Next up in the exclusives category is this exclusive Enterprise 1701 refit from Diamond Select. I don't know about this one. What do you guys think? This is meant to showcase the Enterprise in its final flight, being destroyed above the Genesis planet and plummeting through the atmosphere. It's made of a kind of orange translucent plastic. I don't know. I'm not really sold on this one. I kind of have to imagine that the designer who made this one must be looking at it and thinking,
my God, Bones, what have I done?
It is limited edition. It's 14 inches long and will have no electronics. Only 400 of them are being made, and it will only be available at the Diamond Select Toys booth, number 2607, going for a price of $65. Finally, I'd like to draw your attention to a few new previews that Eaglemoss has put out via Ben Robinson on Twitter. First off, one I'm really excited about. As most of you know, I'm a huge fan of the Star Trek novels. And recently we got confirmation that they would be doing a USS Titan model, and we saw some previews of that. Now we've got the first images of the USS Aventine model that will be coming soon from them. Another special, not regular release, but a special ordered one. And this one is of the ship that was commanded by Captain Ezri Dax in most notably the Destiny trilogy, as well as a number of novels that take place after that. I love this ship. It's very sleek, very gorgeous, and I'm really excited to have an actual version of this on my shelf. We also have an image of another upcoming special larger edition ship, and that is of one of Krall's swarm ships from Star Trek Beyond. This is another gorgeous model. Not a subject that I'm really excited about, however, this model does look gorgeous, and I'm pretty excited to see it in person. We also have these pictures of the Mirror Defiant from the Deep Space Nine Mirror Universe episodes. Not much change on this one, just some extra signage, a little bit of a color change, less blue, more of a gray tone to the extra bits on the hull, as well as, of course, the Mirror Terran Empire insignia, which is not really canon. We didn't see those on the Defiant in those episodes, but it's kind of a nice touch and a nice little addition to the Mirror Universe fleet. As you know, Eaglemoss also does dedication plaques, collectible ones. Actually, I've got the Enterprise D one behind me right there. This one we get is for the USS Franklin from Star Trek Beyond. I really like this one. It's gorgeous. It's kind of unique in Star Trek. And also, if you look very, very closely, the USS Franklin was actually named for the father of the director, Justin Lin, and his father's name is Frank Lin. And if you look really closely on this dedication plaque, there is just a very slight extra space between Frank and Lin as a little homage to his father there. So kind of a neat little touch there. And I think this one would look great on my wall personally. And finally, I saved this one for last because it's kind of the one I'm most excited about. We've been getting 4 packs of shuttles from Eaglemoss, and one of the 4 packs coming up is going to feature, among 2 other ships, the Travel Pod and Work Bee from Star Trek The Motion Picture. Now, if you look really closely at the Work Bee, and I think this is really cool, you'll notice that, yes, those windows are transparent. And according to Ben Robinson on Twitter, there is actually a molded cockpit and seat inside there. So something they've not done on Eaglemoss models before, but for this one, you know, it's probably the smallest ship they've ever done, and it makes sense to have that extra detail there. So kudos to them for including that. I think this looks really great, and I can't wait to see it in person like the other ones. I'll have a link in the description below to Ben Robinson's Twitter account, where if you're lucky, you'll be able to see previews of things that are coming up from Eaglemoss. Well, that's all I have in Star Trek news for this time around. Please subscribe if you want more Star Trek news and reviews. Like this video if you liked it. Leave a comment. Let me know what you thought about any of the news stories in today's episode. You can leave me news tips at Kurtrats on Twitter. That's Kertrats. You can also find me on Facebook at facebook.com/KurtratsProductions. I'll see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching.